It started with a scream that shattered the quiet Saturday morning in Willow Creek Estates. You have got to be kidding me with that monstrosity. Joseph Thompson looked up from tightening the last guy wire on his 40-foot ham radio antenna towering in the backyard. There she was, Karen Hargrove, the newly elected president of the Willow Creek Homeowners Association, storming across the perfectly manicured lawn that separated their properties like she owned the very air he breathed. Her face was flushed beet red under her perfectly coiffed blonde bob, and her pastel cardigan flapped like a battle flag. Joseph wiped grease from his hands onto his jeans and met her glare head-on. At 52,
I moved to Willow
had
Creek
moved
after
to this
losing
Austin
Sarah.
suburb 2 years earlier after losing his wife to cancer.
I know we made the right choice.
The antenna wasn't some eyesore hobby project, it was his lifeline. Late-night QSOs with fellow hams across the country kept the crushing loneliness at bay enduring. Last year's brutal ice storm, it had helped coordinate neighborhood check-ins when cell service died. Karen, it's a legal ham radio antenna, he said evenly, forcing calm into his voice. FCC regulations protect it under PRB1. I checked the covenants before I installed it. It's not even visible from the street unless you're standing right here. Karen planted her hands on her hips, clipboard already in hand like a weapon. Rules are rules, Joseph. Article 7, Section 4 clearly states no external antennas or towers shall be visible from any street or neighboring property. This thing is ruining the aesthetic uniformity that keeps our property values high. The board voted unanimously last night. You have 7 days to remove it or the fines start at $500 and double every week until it's gone. She thrust the certified notice at his chest so hard the paper crinkled. Joseph scanned the document, blood pressure spiking. You can't just. I can and I did, she snapped, cutting him off with the precision of a guillotine. Think of the children. Think of resale value. Or do you want to be the reason our neighborhood looks like a trailer park?
Remove it by Friday.
She spun on her heel and marched back toward her McMansion 3 doors down, already dialing her phone with theatrical flair. Joseph stood there, fist. The warm Texas sun suddenly feeling colder. He had faced worse, empty evenings after the funeral, the silence that no amount of work could fill, but this felt personal, petty, and completely avoidable. By Monday, the certified letter arrived in his mailbox, confirming everything Karen had threatened. The board, President Karen Hargrove, cited him for blatant disregard for community standards. $500 due immediately, plus daily penalties. Joseph spent that evening on the phone with an FCC contact and a lawyer friend in Austin. Both confirmed he had solid ground. But fighting an HOA in small claims court would drain his savings and take months. Tuesday evening, he showed up at the emergency board meeting in the community center, hoping reason might prevail. The room was packed with curious neighbors. Joseph stood at the podium, voice steady. This antenna is for emergency communications and personal use. It complies with federal law. Removing it would leave me, and potentially others, without a critical tool during the next storm or outage. Can we please find a compromise? Karen, seated at the head table in a crisp white blouse, leaned forward with a saccharine smile that didn't reach her eyes. Compromise? Mr. Thompson, the covenants are not suggestions. If we allow one antenna, we'll have satellite dishes, ugly solar arrays, and who knows what else. The board has spoken. Remove it or pay the price. The other 3 board members nodded like trained seals. A few murmurs of support rippled through the crowd. Old Mr. Ramirez from across the street gave a subtle thumbs up, but most people stared at their shoes. Joseph left the meeting with his jaw clenched, the weight of isolation heavier than ever. That night he sat in his dimly lit living room, staring at the antenna glowing faintly under the security lights. Memories of his late wife Elena flooded back, how she used to tease him about talking to ghosts on the radio while they cooked together. He missed her laugh more than anything. Wednesday brought another certified letter, $750 now. Karen had already emailed the entire neighborhood about preserving our beautiful community standards, painting Joseph as the selfish rule breaker. Neighbors who once waved hello now looked away. The pressure was mounting, a familiar burn of righteous anger rising in his chest. He wasn't going to roll over. Not this time. He spent the next 2 days researching every clause in the HOA covenants and every precedent involving amateur radio. Late Thursday night, while the neighborhood slept, an idea crystallized. He didn't need to keep the big antenna up forever. He could comply on the surface while using his engineering skills for something far more satisfying. A low-power FM transmitter, perfectly legal under FCC Part 15 rules for short-range neighborhood broadcasting, could turn the tables in the most poetic way possible. Joseph smiled for the first time in days as he sketched the circuit on a legal pad. Karen wanted drama. Dramatic readings of every single HOA fine, delivered like old-time radio theater, broadcast right into their living rooms and car stereos. The war had just begun. Joseph removed the big antenna at dawn on Friday, just to buy himself time. The metal tower came down section by section, each clank echoing like a surrender he didn't feel. Karen's spy camera across the street probably caught every move. He could almost hear her triumphant cackle. But the real weapon was already wired up in his garage. A compact, low-power FM transmitter tuned to 87.9. Broadcasting range limited to the entire Willow Creek estates and a little beyond. If done right, and devastatingly effective. That same evening, settled into dinner routines. Joseph flipped the switch. His voice, electrical flare and backed by subtle sound effects he'd recorded earlier, floated out across the airwaves. Good evening, Willow Creek. Tonight's feature presentation, the saga of the $500 antenna. In a voice dripping with authority, the HOA decrees that one man's lifeline to the outside world is an affront to aesthetic perfection. He read the entire fine letter aloud, exaggerating every pompous phrase, adding dramatic pauses and mock trumpet fanfares. Will our hero bow to the clipboard queen? Tune in tomorrow for the next thrilling installment. Within minutes,
receiving confirmation that the object has landed.
Cars slowed on the streets as drivers tuned their radios.
It can't be real.
By the second night, text messages started pinging Joseph's phone from neighbors he barely knew. This is gold, man. Finally someone saying what we're all thinking. Even Mr.
Citizens of Austin, the
voicemail chuckling about the radio rebellion.
Over. I repeat, the breakfast.
Joseph, this is completely
Sunday morning, she was pounding on his door again, flanked by two other board members.
Good morning. Is this really necessary? This
I know it's
radio
you.
Stunt must end right
That
now,
childish
or the
pirate
police
radio
will be
stunt
called.
ends now, or we're calling the police.
Is that so, Karen?
Joseph
this is
leaned against the
absolutely
doorframe,
unacceptable. You cannot bar
arms
the board
crossed.
from the property.
Well, Karen, it seems I just did. It's a
Pirate
licensed
radio?
low-power transmitter, Karen,
Licensed
completely within
low-power
FCC
transmitter
limits.
I don't
operating
care.
well
This
within
is completely
FCC limits.
unacceptable, Joseph. Remove it now.
So tell me,
Anyone
Karen,
with a
does
car
the whole
radio can
neighborhood
hear
agree
it.
with these fines, or just you?
Or
How
are you
dare
admitting the
imply such a
entire
thing,
neighborhood
Joseph?
is now
You know
listening
I am
to your
just the
fines?
messenger.
Her face
the audio
twisted.
is dominated by a woman's voice speaking angrily and emphatically.
This is
No,
accountability.
Joseph replied, voice
Every
sharp as a
fine
blade.
will be
This is
read
accountability.
in living color.
Every fine you slap on people for ridiculous reasons gets read in living color.
We can't
Maybe the
ignore how
community will
community
finally
perceives this,
see how
Karen.
you're
When we
weaponizing the
selectively
covenants.
enforce these rules,
You
She
are
stormed
receiving
off.
doubled fines for this
And
nuisance
doubled fines
broadcasting,
for
and I am
nuisance
instructing my attorney
broadcasting.
to move forward with legal action immediately.
By Monday, the fines hit $1,500. But something else was happening. Support was swelling.
Look
A
at
group
this,
chat
40
called
members
Willow
already.
Creek
It's
Truth
blowing
Radio
up. Everyone
popped
is
up with
joining
over
Willow
40
Creek Truth
members.
Radio.
This is amazing.
People started sharing their own HOA horror stories. Mrs. Delgado fined for her garden gnomes. The young couple ticketed for a basketball hoop. Joseph incorporated the best ones into his nightly broadcasts, turning each episode into biting social commentary wrapped in entertainment. His sharp comebacks during daytime confrontations with Karen became neighborhood legend. When she cornered him at the mailbox, snarling about destroying community harmony, Joseph shot back. Harmony? You mean the harmony of everyone cowering under your clipboard? Funny how your rules never seem to apply to your own oversized pool deck. The comment landed, but she recovered quickly and marched away. Joseph knew he had struck a nerve. Late that night, after another hilarious broadcast roasting the latest fine stack, he sat back and allowed himself a small, satisfied smile. The loneliness that had haunted him since Elena's death felt lighter. He wasn't just fighting for an antenna anymore, he was fighting for every neighbor tired of living under petty tyranny. The broadcasts evolved into must-listen events. Joseph developed characters, the clipboard queen for Karen, complete with exaggerated nasal voice and dramatic sighs. Neighbors left anonymous tips in his mailbox, more fines, more absurd enforcement stories. The community divided sharply.
He's a hero.
Some called him a hero, others, loyal to Karen,
You're late
troublemaker.
resolving this mess.
But the laughter spreading through backyards and group texts was undeniable. Karen escalated hard. She hired a private investigator, posted armed security signs, and pushed the board to pass an emergency noise ordinance targeting his transmitter. Fines now topped $3,000. At the next board meeting, she tried to have him removed from the neighborhood entirely. This man is a cancer, she declared, voice trembling with righteous fury. He's dividing us. Joseph stood in the audience, microphone hidden in his pocket, feeding live to the transmitter. Dividing us? Person's obsession with control is costing every homeowner real money and real peace. His voice carried through radios parked outside the community center. Sharp dialogue flew. Karen screamed.
We have legal precedent for this.
Actually, Joseph countered coolly,
Federal protections
I'm
ensure that
exercising
every
my
resident
First
has the right to
Amendment
express
rights
their
and
views,
federal
even here in
protections.
Willow Creek. Karen,
Maybe read the covenants you
check the
love
covenants
so
you
much.
love so much.
There's nothing in there
Pretty sure
about
they don't
neighborhood
mention
radio
neighborhood
theater.
radio theater. Welcome
Support
back to
grew
Willow Creek
quietly.
Live.
Mike,
Look at
the
this,
retired
best neighbor
mechanic
in
2
Texas
houses
just bought
down,
the fuel. Thanks, Mike.
started dropping
Now,
off
as I was
coffee
saying
and
about the
snacks
upcoming
during
bond
broadcasts.
election, give me the
Sarah,
metal
a
rattle.
single mom who had
Now
been
the
fined for her
footsteps on
kids'
wood,
chalk drawings
and
on the
finally,
driveway,
the
became his
gravel
unofficial producer, helping
Sounds good on
record
my
sound
end.
effects.
I
The human
haven't had a
cost of
full
Karen's
night's
reign became
sleep
clear
since she
in
moved
every
in.
story shared.
We've had to
Families
cut
skipping
back on
groceries to pay
groceries
fines,
just to pay the
retirees
legal
losing
fees.
sleep over trivial violations.
Here in
Joseph's
Willow Creek
broadcasts
Estates,
wove
the
these
dream
into a
became
larger narrative
nightmare.
about power
Our own
unchecked,
HOA
about
wielded
how
power
HOAs could turn
unchecked,
neighbors into
turning
enemies
neighbor
instead of
against
friends.
neighbor.
He spent late nights digging through public records at the county clerk's office. Patterns emerged: selective enforcement, missing meeting minutes, dues funneled into unexplained administrative expenses. Karen's own property showed unpermitted additions. A massive pool deck and privacy wall built without approvals while she hammered everyone else. Joseph held the evidence close, waiting for the perfect moment. Tension thickened. Karen started showing up at odd hours, camera phone recording, threatening lawsuits and police reports for defamation.
Well,
Joseph
Karen,
met every
since you're already
confrontation with
performing for
calm,
the whole
cutting wit.
street, why not
Go
make it
ahead,
a live
Karen.
episode?
The whole neighborhood is listening. Let's give them a live episode. The breaking point came on a humid Thursday evening. Karen burst into Joseph's driveway with 2 sheriff's deputies in tow. Arrest him. He's broadcasting lies about me. Joseph stood calmly by his small transmitter, which was live. Officers, everything I've said is documented public record or direct quotes from HOA notices. Care to listen? The deputies, clearly annoyed at being dragged into a neighborhood spat, listened to a 30-second clip. One shrugged. Sounds like free speech to me, ma'am. Karen's face purpled.
Joseph.
Thompson.
I am calling an
Emergency HOA meeting tomorrow night.
Effective immediately.
You're finished. Joseph smiled.
I wouldn't
And
miss the
neither will
meeting,
the neighborhood.
and neither will the neighborhood.
At the packed meeting the next night, Karen took the stage, microphone trembling in her hand. Joseph Thompson has waged a campaign of harassment and lies. I move to fine him $10,000 and begin eviction proceedings. The room erupted. Tablet in
Before
hand.
you vote, let's
Talk facts. He connected his phone to the community center speakers and the transmitter simultaneously. The live broadcast reached every radio in the subdivision. He displayed the evidence, photos of Karen's unpermitted pool deck, county records showing HOA dues spent on her personal landscaping, minutes she had altered to cover her tracks. Gasps rippled through the crowd.
Delgado was fined immediately.
You find Mrs. Delgado $2,000 for garden gnomes while your own illegal construction stands untouched.
A kingdom.
Joseph said, voice steady but laced with quiet fury. You've turned this community into your personal kingdom. That ends tonight. Karen sputtered, face drained of color. That's doctored. Mike stood up. I saw the construction trucks myself, Karen. We all did. Sarah added, and we're done paying for your power trip. The board members shifted uncomfortably. The live broadcast carried every word to hundreds of listeners. Phones lit up with texts of outrage. The vote was swift and brutal. By a landslide, the board removed Karen as president and dissolved the most punitive covenants. The new slate of officers was elected on the spot, including Joseph as an advisor.
Thank you.
The fines against him were wiped clean. The next morning, Joseph re-erected his antenna under the watchful but now friendly eyes of the neighborhood. Mike helped with the guy wires. Sarah brought lemonade. Laughter and genuine conversation replaced the tense silence that had gripped Willow Creek Estates for months. That evening, Joseph did one final broadcast, not a roast, but a quiet reflection. We learned something important here, he told his listeners. Rules exist for a reason, but when they become weapons in the hands of someone hungry for control, they destroy the very community they claim to protect.
Thank you for spending your evening with me.
And a little creativity can bring us back together.
Good night.
Thanks for listening. He switched off the transmitter. The antenna hummed softly under the stars, connecting him once more to the wider world. And now, more importantly, to the neighbors who had become friends. Homeowners associations do more harm than good by prioritizing rigid control over genuine community harmony.